Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. My name is Xtavia Bailey. I am the Manatee Tiger Bay president, and I'm very excited to have these guests today. We're going to have a very exciting discussion about AI and the impact on the workforce. So remember, when you are asking questions today, we will be doing a tiger by the tail, just to let you all know. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Do we have any veterans in the room? Any veterans? If you are a veteran, please stand and be recognized. We just want to thank you for your service. We do not have any veterans today, but we just had Memorial Day, so we want to make sure that we thank those who are standing up for us. So here is just a little housekeeping. If you all would make sure that your cell phones are silenced. I'm going to check too, just in case. So today, we're going to be speaking about how AI and the changing workforce will impact the future economy. Our speakers are Joshua Matlock, President and CEO of CareerSource Suncoast. And we have Deshwana Bagley, is it Bagley or Bagley?
Bagley.
Bagley, thank you. Director of Advanced Technology Center, State College of Florida. We decided to do this topic today because there's so much conversation on AI. Is this going to have an impact on the workforce with the people, and will it also change what our students are majoring in? We have seen a lot of different careers change or people going back to school, so we want to make sure that you all understand that this is a very, very important conversation. If you want to read their bios, because I want to give them enough time to do their presentations, they are connected online. And if you have any questions afterwards, they'll be here. And then we'll have the questions will be right here. So if you have a question, this is where you'll be going to speak. Our first speaker today is Joshua Matlock. Please give him a round of applause as he comes.
All right, thank you so much. Can we go ahead and start? Yeah, there we go. All right, so, we're at the beginning of, if you haven't noticed, an AI revolution. There's a lot of talk about AI. And that's not to say that AI is this new thing that just happened all of a sudden. Actually, it's been around for about the past 8 decades. However, today we're experiencing the beginnings of artificial intelligence, transformative impact on our communities, businesses, workforce, and its widespread influence that's progressing at a rapid pace. And then just the rapid advancement of it, it's accelerating how fast it's moving. And then the societal and economic shifts that are going to result. So where did this come from, and why now? And what's driving this AI advancement? And I'm going to point to 2 things that's kind of really driving this. The first one is compute growth. So computation growth is exponential at the moment, right? It's been exponential, but I'll get into what we mean by that. And then the other thing is computation cost has been declining. So growth in computation capability, and at the same time, and that's exponential, at the same time that computation cost is declining or decreasing at an exponential rate too. To help kind of understand this better, what I thought I would do is start off by, and I think this is important, it's flops. So I think this is important to understand because it gives you an idea, gives you a perspective on why this is just now cropping up and why it's moving so fast. Flops are, compute is measured by flops. It's the floating point operations per second. And so it's like a floating point operation would be like a addition or subtraction, multiplication, division problem that can be done by two numbers in 1 second. And that's how you measure how much compute you have by flops, okay? And then to illustrate this growth in compute over the past 8 decades, let's take a look at this training compute graph. It's a little hard to see here, but on the bottom what you see is 1940 to 2020, and then along the left column there are the amount of flops that our AI systems can operate on, or that's available to operate on. And so at the very bottom is 10 flops, so it's like 10 operations per second at the very bottom. And then every step up is a 100-fold increase, right? So what you see here is from 1959 to 2012, training computation grew about the same rate as Moore's law, which was doubling every 20 months, okay? And so then, you know, all the way till today, where it's beyond the every 20 months, it's surpassed Moore's law. Now we've got hardware and algorithm innovations that has computation doubling roughly every 3.4 months. So you can see how things are accelerating, right? I think of something to note is 2012. 2012, that's where you see that bunch of AI systems there at the top. That's really where things begin to start to turn. And I think what you see in 2012, you say, well, what happened in 2012? Well, we had hardware that was better. But then the other thing was the cost of compute. So in 1945, if you were to pay for a billion flops, it would have cost $2 quadrillion, you know, theoretically. Then you get to 2012 and it's already down to $1 for 1 billion flops. Then you get to 2023 and it's 1 cent per billion flops. So NVIDIA's CEO on a podcast last month said that NVIDIA is going to get the marginal cost of a billion flops down to 0. So that's what's fueling this AI revolution. And so the two most important questions I think one can ask, or one should ask, with regards to AI at this moment are, how good will it get and how fast? Right? Because it's moving awful fast at the moment. So what's the impact on the workforce? Well, Goldman Sachs predicts that 300 million jobs worldwide are at risk of being disrupted by AI. And when you think about jobs, I think it's important to think of it in terms of jobs are a bundle of tasks, right? It's a grouping of tasks that make up a job. You can go to ONET and you can find an occupation, which is a list of occupations in ONET, and it has the occupation and it lists all the tasks that make up that occupation. And so as we look at how AI is going to impact jobs, AI is going to begin to start automating the various tasks that exist within the job. Does that mean that it's going to automate all the tasks? Some jobs, no. But then there are some jobs where it may automate most all the tasks in that particular job, depending on what those tasks are. In fact, Goldman Sachs finds that 2/3 of U.S. occupations are exposed to some degree of automation by AI, 2/3. And that the degree of automation exposure varies between 25 to 50% of the tasks that can be replaced. So 2/3 of jobs in the U.S. Have 25 to 50% of the tasks within those jobs that could be automated in the not too distant future. But that's not all bad, right? That could open up new opportunities for workers. For example, a study by Harvard and MIT, they partnered with Boston Consulting Group, and Boston Consulting Group volunteered 8% of their global workforce to participate in this study. And Harvard, MIT put together 18 business tasks that ranged from analysis, persuasion, creativity, and they measured all 8% of that global workforce without AI usage. And then, after they benchmarked that, they measured half of the 8% with using AI to do those tasks, and then half without AI. And what they discovered is those that used AI, it resulted in a 40% increase in quality of the task. It resulted in 26% increase in speed of those tasks that were done, and it also increased the amount of tasks completed by 12%. So there's an opportunity for some significant productivity gains within the workforce. And I like to, for me, I like to try to be positive and keep a positive mindset on this. And so I see this as an opportunity to help us address another challenge that we have today and will progressively get worse as the years pass by. And that challenge is demographics, right? So in the U.S., today we're short about 400,000 people in the labor force. And much of that has to do with the largest generation, baby boomer generation, retiring, and they not having enough kids to replace themselves as they retire. And so the result is 400,000 this year. Then every year you continue to add more that we're going to be short, to where it tops out in 2034 of 1 million workers predicted to be short needed. So we're going to need about a lot of workers along the way that we're not going to have. And so hopefully AI could be a way to address that issue. It could be the silver lining to help us maintain productivity even though we're short, have a short labor market or shortage in the labor market. The other piece, impact on companies. I like to group companies into two categories. You've got the new, smaller, perhaps startup companies that are going to be AI natives, so they're going to start their company with AI. And then you have existing legacy, larger, more mature enterprises. They're going to have challenges, right? That this newer group is not. The smaller. I think as a result, you're going to see smaller, higher valued companies in the future. Think of Instagram in 2012 when it sold to Facebook for $1 billion. Anybody know how many employees they had? 13. 13 employees created a $1 billion company. So maybe the next thing with AI is you have a company of one person creating a $1 billion company. Maybe you have a company of 0 persons creating a $1 billion company, perhaps. And then for existing companies, it's going to be inherently more challenging because oftentimes, these larger, more mature companies are going to treat AI as essentially controlled IT product. And, employees are going to be waiting for a centralized instruction manual on how to implement the AI, and so that's probably not the most effective way to be embedding it in your companies. And then it's unclear how senior leaders are going to be able to tell line workers how to use AI in their day-to-day jobs. So for companies to be successful, who are older companies, more mature companies, it's all going to be all about culture that they create and AI, the culture of AI usage, and how they incentivize its usage. I think an example that I've heard about is a thing called Ignite Tech. Their CEO bought all their employees, bought all their employees GPT-4, and expected everybody to use it. And those who didn't use it or show much usage by the end of the month, like if they didn't show at least 2 hours of usage by the end of the month, they were fired. And then those who did create perhaps the best prompts were receiving cash prizes. So that's an example of a company that's working to create a culture of AI usage and incentivizing such. And then I'll just end with company impact on this. The impact on strategy. Ethan Mollick, I think, was put it well in terms of creating the strategy for AI usage. And he has 4 questions you should ask yourself as a company. 1, what do you do that was valuable but no longer will be moving forward? Number 2, what's something that was impossible to do before but is not impossible now? Next, what's something you could move up market that you were unable to in the past, and what's something that you can move down market that you were unable to in the past? Just some strategic questions to start asking yourself. And then I'll end with Sam Altman quote. A few months ago, he said 2024 is going to be the most interesting year in human history, except for every year that follows. Every year that follows. Thank you.
Please give Joshua like another, it's interesting because if you guys don't have questions after this, I'm going to wonder, are you using, I use it and I love it. It makes me a little bit more efficient. So I think it's good in some ways, and then in some ways I think that we're going to see some difficulties. Next we'll have Dej, Director of Advanced Technology Center for State College of Florida. Please give her a round of applause as she comes forth.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? Awesome. I want to be mindful of our State College of Florida team who's present. So thank you to the Advanced Technology Center team for coming today. And thank you to my mama, who's from Beaumont, Texas, for joining us as well. And my husband, Daryl, is here, used one of his vacation days to come and support me, so I appreciate that as well, yes. Found out that Joshua's from Texas, so we got a lot of Texans in the house. I'm originally from Texas. Yeah, go girl. I'm originally from Texas. Despite my youthful appearance, I have to tell y'all, I've been through quite a few computer revolutions, right? I'm young enough to have known a time when there was a Commodore 64 with the cassettes that you stuck into the computer, and that was your hard drive. I'm young enough to have seen the internet be born through DARPA from funding from the government. And talking to my husband while I was at the University of Texas, he was at Texas A&M, and we were chatting over, I don't think it was DARPA net, but it was something very close to the old school internet. And all of my friends were like, what are you doing? You're such a nerd. And I'm like, you guys got to get on board with this internet thing. They're like, internet, computers, nah, girl, nah. Yes. So I am old enough to have seen that. I'm old enough to have resisted the smartphone. When the smartphone came about, I liked my flip phone. I didn't need anything more. I was very happy with exactly using it as a telephone as it was intended, right? And then everybody in my family, for the most part, got iPhones. And I literally, y'all, put my foot down. Those things are too much money. I refuse to be a part of iPhone Nation. But here we are. Here we are. iPad, iPhone. I have to tell you that when it comes to AI, I think we're just going to have to get on board. Whether we like it or not, whether it's cool or not, whether we're scared or not, whether we think it's going to impact our lives or not, we're going to have to get on board because it's coming. When the computer revolution and the internet revolution and the smartphone revolution came about, the GDP increased. It didn't stagger. Productivity increased. It did not stop. Efficiencies increased for educators, for manufacturers, for marketers, for lawyers. You name the sector, it increased. What may not have increased were the missing millions that were left behind. And I very well could have been one of those missing millions without my mom telling me you will make good grades and you will go to college, right? Without my mentors and educators telling me, go into engineering. They need some more black females in engineering. Go into engineering. Turned out I didn't like engineering. I really loved computer science, though. I love being able to tell the machine what to do and have the machine do it, because that's the kind of personality I have. I like being able to tell people. Now, my 3 younger siblings did not like that whatsoever. They were resistant and hesitant to my bossiness. And my husband might also be a little hesitant. Yeah. But when you tell a machine what to do, it does it. And now when you give AI a prompt that's valuable and useful, we call it prompt engineering. It does what you want it to do. You ask for a graph and you get your graph. You ask for a video. Someone was speaking earlier about training a model on your own personality and your own words, your own persona, and you train that model on how to sound like you and look like you and act like you, and it does it. So it allows you to create those videos that you may not have time to create on your own. It allows you to create those PowerPoint presentations that you just don't have time to do, but you got to do them. Oh, and speaking of that, I do have a PowerPoint presentation, don't I? Okay, let's see. We'll go this way, this way. Give it up for State College of Florida! All right. So those are all the sectors, y'all. It is coming, and AI has the potential to boost productivity and economic output in conjunction to, I'm going to throw in there, automation. Joshua talked a lot about automation. AI all on its own is helpful, but once you're able to automate tasks to repeatedly do what you want them to do, and not just rotely, right, but with some customizations that says, if Christy sends me an email, then I'm going to reply to Christy this way. If Maddie sends me an email about scholarships, I'm going to reply to Maddie that way, without having to create the templates, because the template might differ for every single person. Being able to create something that can then respond to that individual, that's automation, and that's AI, and that's what's going to increase productivity for us. From 2024 to 2028, the labor productivity is expected to grow at an average rate of 1.9%. So to put that in perspective, that's like your favorite coffee shop giving you an extra dose of espresso every single day, right? So then you're productive and you're ready to go. The GDP is expected to have a growth rate of 2.4%. That's 0.6 percentage points higher than the baseline forecast, and that's because of AI and automation now being added into the fold. I also found the Goldman Sachs information, Josh, so I'm going to skip the Goldman Sachs one for now. I'll keep going. So where it gets interesting is that, yes, we're growing as far as technology is growing, but our population is also growing. Our population is not just growing, in fact, it's thriving. By 2028, we should be 2.4 million people larger, bigger than we were before. That's like the entire population of Houston, Texas coming into the workforce. But no cowboy hats. Y'all can keep that. No cowboy hats. Yes, we know that older workers are postponing their retirements. They're staying in the workforce just a little bit longer. And we know that younger folks are coming into the workforce earlier, thanks in part to organizations like CareerSource, right? A lot of our youth are being hired this summer. They're going to have internships because of CareerSource. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're trained or that they're ready or that they understand what's happening and what's going to impact their jobs in the future. So we have to help them. Just like we talked about robotics back in the day, I started a robotics company back in 2005 to help young people understand robotics just a little bit better. We're going to now want to do those same things for young people. So yes, I'm talking to you guys right now, but I want you guys to take this information and share it with the young people in your lives, because it's going to make a big difference for them when they start thinking about their majors, their careers, what they want to study. So when we think about finance, AI is going to transform operations through advanced data analytics. We do data analytics now, we understand that, give all of our information to Excel, and we ask Excel to make some pivot charts for us, right, so that we can see our data just a little bit clearer. AI is going to make it super clear. There are going to be some new roles in data science, and we're going to have some ethics that involve that. Because when we start to think about data, we think about privacy. And when we think about privacy, things get scary. Do I really want AI to know all of my medical history, which it can then share with my insurance company? You know, do I really want AI to know all of those things about me? Government. AI is going to help us improve public safety and resource management. It's going to possibly help us enhance policy decisions. Do I want AI to make all of the policy decisions? Not on your life, right? Because it's mere man that's creating the model, and we have to have lots of voices at the table, lots of cultures, lots of diversity, lots of age groups. We need everybody at the table when we start thinking about policy, educators as well as the techies. I'm talking to you, Eric. Educators, athletes, entertainers. We want everybody at that table. Marketing, so that when we start to think about our policies, those things are transformational and they're helpful for everybody. I could go on. Medicine, education, manufacturing. There are some studies that say, well, some of the jobs that are going to be erased will be the jobs that are monotonous. And you guys, please forgive me. I am the director of the Advanced Technology Center, but yeah. Good, thank you, good job. So some of the jobs that could be replaced: customer service representatives, car and truck drivers. Why the car and truck drivers? Automated cars, right? You may not want to get into a car with no driver. You may be hesitant and resistant to get into the back seat, but guess what? It's coming, and you will get into that car, and you will go. It's just the way of the world. Computer programmers. As much as I hate to admit it, I have a computer science degree and a master's in information technology. Computer programming is a rote task. It's all about finding little recipes and making code. And once AI can do the critical thinking and do the problem solving and the logic for us, entry-level programmers, yes. Those advanced people that sort of supervise other people, not so much. Travel advisors, financial traders, graphic designers, to an extent, may not necessarily have all of the jobs that they have now. AI jobs that won't be replaced. Jobs that require critical thinking and logic and the human touch. Teachers, nurses, social workers, therapists. Some people would disagree with the therapist, right? We've already heard about folks using ChatGPT as their girlfriend or their spouse, or go visit grandma because I don't have time. Here, grandma, use ChatGPT. It can talk to you. Things that won't be replaced, possibly. Your handy person, your HR specialist, writers, artists. You never know. All of this is very subjective, and that's the thing about impact of AI. How do we really know? Did we really know most of us will be ordering Uber Eats to have our food delivery, or Kroger apps to do our grocery shopping? Did we really know that? Did we think about that? That we would be posting our whole lives on Instagram and Facebook? And did we know we would be doing that 20, 30 years ago? We didn't. So the jobs and the careers and the companies that are coming forth, just like Joshua said, by one people or two people, it's coming. And we can't even imagine what we're going to get or what we're going to have to adapt to. But with that in mind comes policy and community voices so that we can help shape some economic opportunities, that we can't leave folks behind. We really have to think about training. And I'm not trying to just pump up the Coding Academy right now. But the Coding Academy at State College of Florida does an amazing job of helping folks really train for emerging technology skills. So we'll go to the next slide. Nice. So when you think about AI, I also want you to think about the metaverse. I want you to think about virtual reality, how you can walk into a Lowe's right now and use your phone to scan a code and see what that piece of furniture or that bench or that hardware equipment will look like in your garage. It's there now. How Amazon is working on processes so that as you're shopping, you can try on the shirt with augmented reality, try on the dress, and see how it works for you. All of those things will become much better with AI. We use them right now, and they're a little mundane, but once you add the automation, the AI, and the virtual reality, and the augmented reality to the whole situation, it's a whole new ballgame. We're living in a whole new world. And we don't want folks to get left behind. The Biden administration has put together what they called the Executive Order on the Safe, Secure, and Trustworthy Development and Use of Artificial Intelligence. They want to ensure that the AI development and use in the U.S. are safe, secure, and trustworthy, that it keeps the worker in mind, that it's equitable, and that it's fair. You can look that up. You can figure out how you can have a voice in that conversation. In the state of Florida, our legislators have approved an AI task force. They've also approved AI in the classroom. They've given $2 billion for teachers to be able to make use of grants in order to research AI and see how it can be used to help students. You may want to know, well, how can you get on Governor DeSantis's task force? Because he's created one as well. You talk to your local legislator and you say, hey, I understand there's an AI task force. I want my voice in that. I want my child's voice in that. How can we be a part of that? You do not sit around and wait for things to happen to you. Your goal is to make things happen for the ones that you love coming behind you, because there will be an impact. And studies are showing that those jobs that folks are going to have in this new economy, we've sort of shifted. Manufacturing is what I preached about 10 years ago. You don't have to have a degree. Just get a skill. If you can learn to work a CNC machine or a 3D printer, or if you can understand robotics, you can have a job. Today, 2024, I'm saying you better get that degree. And you better have some skills. Because it's now together. It's a combination. Because those folks who will have jobs in this new economy impacted by AI will be those with higher degrees. That's what the studies are showing. So in conclusion, I just want to let everybody know that I'm a fan of AI. I'm excited about virtual reality. I'm happy for us to support the development of policies that will make life easier for us. But I'm also a little leery. And we'll go to the last slide. It should say policy. Yep, there we go. I'm a little leery that some of the policies being made might always be made by the same old people who are always making the policies. And I'm tired of that. I need more voices at the table because the GDP is going to grow, the economy is going to grow, and we're going to still have those that are less than. Because guess what happens when there's 13 people making $1 billion? Taxes. Because the corporations understand how not to pay taxes. They do that oh so well. And don't get me wrong, I own a corporation. I also know how to not pay taxes. We know how to work around the edges. But for those of us in the room, we pay taxes. And if all the jobs are automated or virtual reality or AI and it doesn't take a very large workforce, even though there's a very large workforce coming our way, and those folks are not paying taxes, then there are some services that we might start missing. Maybe not you and I. We may not miss some of those services, but those around us might miss the services that are paid for by tax dollars that nobody's going to pay because the jobs are automated. So I'll leave you with that. That's why we need policies and we need our voices at the table. Thank you.
I wish I was that excited about computers. I tell you, I wouldn't stop if oh man. I like that you said that the career, because we've been pushing career, get some skills. But that is the interesting part, how the workforce will shift. And we want to make sure that our teenagers that are applying and going to college understand their path. They need people there that understand what Joshua and Dej talked about today, because if they don't, they might be selecting something for 2023, 2024, and in 2028, they're kind of reevaluating everything that they've done. So thank you so much. Please give them another round of applause. If you could we have our microphone right there. I want to thank you all for attending. If you're going to speak, please ask the question. Please choose not to elaborate. Does everybody know what that means? But ask the question, what questions do you have you can go over, Christy, raise your hand. You could pull it up just a little bit and face it toward me. Appreciate it. If you have a question, please go to the microphone for them, any questions that you have for our panelists. But I do want to start off with these two questions for Joshua. The first question is, how do you think the careers are shifting? What are you seeing? Due to the AI, where do you think most people will be actually, that path that I just talked about, where do you think we will see our new high schoolers, college majors going? And for AI, you two, what are the negative impacts of AI? Joshua?
Yeah.
You could come up. This is real old tired Ray.
So, as far as where careers are going, that's a great question.
Thank you.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's things are accelerating so fast in this area that we'll be able to we'll find out pretty soon that there are going to be lots of jobs that they're going to be changed. I think we're going to discover that there's more jobs changed perhaps than are eliminated. Mm-hmm. So think of an accountant before spreadsheets. What was that job like? And then they created spreadsheets. The job changed. The accountant didn't go away. They're still accountants, but it's a different job. And so I think, there will be some jobs that disappear, but for the most part, jobs are just going to significantly change. And what that looks like, your guess is as good as mine. I mean, who knows? The things, like I said, things are moving so quickly that it's hard to gauge exactly where it's going to end up.
Thank you so much. That's a good question.
The negative impacts of AI, I'll start with that one.
Okay.
There are a lot, right? Only because at this point we're getting to, you know how we call it generative AI? Generative meaning that the algorithm itself is looking at other pieces of data to try to put a big picture together for us. So it's generating something unique, typically, not like with the images that I used on some of my slides. They were AI generated, not a stock photo, not anything that you have to buy, right? Just generated by AI. It's something unique. When we don't necessarily understand how that generation is happening, how the algorithm is making its decisions as to how to create the answer, when it's out of our hands, that's when I think it gets a little scary. So I definitely think we need to have some policies in place that say if you're designing something using AI, you darn well better know how it's working and how it's getting to the conclusions that it's drawing. The other thing is simply that algorithms are made by people, and if you don't have a lot of people who know how to make algorithms, you don't get a lot of diversity of thought. I might want to make a virtual reality store that sells wigs, because I'm a connoisseur of some wigs, right? Right? Would anybody else think to make wigs of a certain hairstyle, a certain hair type? Would anybody else think like me? Would they bring that idea to the table? Someone else might want to do traveling, but not just traveling to the regular place, but traveling to remote places and doing missionary work. And don't get me started on the Bible. Do not use AI on the Bible. It's not accurate, right? Just don't do it. So there are some negatives. There are some things in there that just aren't quite right. And if we don't catch it right at the moment when it's not right, we won't get to it. And then just thinking about our children, because we compartmentalize. Thank y'all. He's the athlete. She's the scholar. Oh, this is my little artist. Oh yeah, no, Daesh. I'm not going to send my child to camp. They don't even like science. I don't care what your child likes. Send your child to camp to give them some exposure. Let them do some ballet and some gymnastics and some soccer. My kids were little brainiacs. They hated soccer, but they were still on that field chasing butterflies because they needed exposure. So there are some times where people say, I just don't know and I don't want to be involved, and then they're not exposed and we don't have their voices. They don't expose their kids. And while my kid is doing AI tutoring for Calculus BC and getting a 1300 on her SAT through AI tutoring, another child is not getting that tutoring because the parent thought they had to pay somebody to get to it. There's some disparities that we need to help people understand. So the more we get to do talks like this, I love this. I love this so much. If anybody ever wants me to talk about AI to any group, talk to Neil. Where is he? There he is.
He wants to ask a question.
Okay, Neil will definitely send me all over to talk about AI. Josh, I'll turn that over to you, that question.
They have another question for you.
Oh, okay.
You can go up and ask the question.
Okay, all right. Hi, I'm Liv Coleman. I'm a professor of political science at the University of Tampa, and my husband is Matt Lipinski. Last year he was at New College, and next year he's going to be at the University of Tampa with me. Also, he's going to be in computer science and teaching AI actually. But as you know, in the classroom, there's a lot of confusion about how to handle AI, and because AI can do their homework for them at some level. So you have some professors going to pen and paper exams and oral exams and things like this to teach these critical thinking skills that you need. But at the other hand, you have some faculty who are saying, well, integrate AI and have students critique AI and use it in assignments and things like that. And based on what you're seeing from what employers want and the skills they want, do you have any ideas or suggestions or best practices for how we should be thinking about this in the classroom to prepare students?
Are we able to take the microphone off the thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. Think about, so not too long ago, I guess there was a debate on, should calculators be allowed in math class? So I feel like over time we'll probably get there. I think it's going to be where AI it's like your co-pilot. It's the thing that's with you all the time. that helps you become the best version of you, perhaps. And so I think it's where AI, you're going to work with it every day on tasks and problems. And so I don't, in terms of trying to test for competency, I guess that's what a lot of folks are having to do right now is they make kids do things in the classroom so they can see that they're doing it and not just asking for the answer. But in terms, I think where we'll end up is it's going to be co-work where individuals are going to use AI to help solve complex problems, and it's going to take the human and the AI to do so.
Yeah, just a quick question. Do you guys feel like there will be opportunities going forward for humans to be any part of the mix? I was thinking of a phrase called like an AI ambassador or something like that, or something to be able to, Dace, you talked about some of the ethics and things like that, helping the AI to better understand some of our processes that it wouldn't necessarily be aware of. Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense. So you're saying humanize AI so that it can become a little more human. Yeah, I think that's going to be a big debate in our country, and we'll see where that ends up. But that idea of a co-pilot is a great idea, and that's the way I think instructors should think about it, because we were always getting answers from the back of the book anyway, right?
Oh, boy.
I love it. Next question.
Okay, I need to ask this question. Okay, what about our kids in school and our college kids? I like the program, AI, but wonder if a kid in college, because, if they do this right here, they always get in trouble. Wonder if a kid say, hey, AI, I need an essay for my political science class, and they do it for it. Will they get in trouble for that?
That depends on the instructor. That depends on the teacher. Some teachers, they'll say, no, I have a no AI policy. My husband is an adjunct at USL. He says he has a no AI policy. Other teachers will say, just tell me you used AI. I want to know what part is yours and what part is not. But I will tell you, most educators have the AI checker already. So they're going to know. Instructors can just take the paper, put it into the software that says, is this AI? And the software will say 90%, 75%, 60% is AI. So students should not try to cheat like that. But I say using it for a brainstorming tool, let it help you brainstorm and then add your own ideas to it.
I need to know that,
It's up to the teacher.
Okay, thank you.
Dace and I had that conversation about AI, and what I came to the conclusion of, I think it's good, but I think the human has to direct the AI. So if you're writing something, it's up to you to put your words in there, and they almost arrange it where it's a little bit more in order. But I think that human has to really direct AI, because if there's no direction, you just put a blurb in there, they're going to write exactly what they want to write. But if most of it is your words and your story and what you want, I think that's the way that we can control that, and that maybe the professors should work with it, figure out, like you said, 90%, 75%, how much will they actually accept from AI if the students are turning in AI essays. Jane?
I'm Jane Filesticker, and I am a member. My question is there a reliable way for a general consumer to distinguish between an AI-generated image or video or piece of work as opposed to something that's real human-generated?
That's a good question. Have you guys seen the commercials or ads where it's really not the people and they're talking and they sound just like them? Oh, that's horrible. I just don't want my face on anything. Keep me out of it. You want to answer that?
Yeah. Florida government passed the law for this upcoming election that if you use AI in your political ads, you have to say so. So that's what Florida has done. There is a watermark sometimes. I don't know if you've ever noticed when you copy and paste ChatGPT, it gives you that gray, so if you don't remember to take that out, then, and you bust it. So, bust it.
She said they'll be busted. I love it. Yes.
Daryl Bagley, and I've had the pleasure of working as an adjunct at USF and also with these people at State College of Florida and on the non-credit side. And yeah, one of my students used AI when I had a no AI policy, and how did I know? They put something in their code that I hadn't taught. So kind of.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Kind of exposed themselves. And they didn't understand it, so they came to me with questions. Like, yeah, you don't know it because I haven't taught it yet.
That's interesting.
But last fall, I happened to be teaching at USF at the same time that there was the writer's strike in Hollywood, and posed the question to the students of, if AI is capable of generating scripts and special effects and coming up with movies and replacing actors with deep fakes or whatever, and we find those things entertaining, why shouldn't AI be used? Is it fair for the writers to go on strike and demand that AI can't be used if it can do the job? I mean, if you think back to when the internet started, there were people who were travel agents, and then now hard to be a travel agent when people can do their own travel using the internet.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of pushback that they thought it just wasn't fair that AI is causing people to lose their jobs. They also argued that they don't think AI can reach the quality that a human can. But then we've also seen articles where they've been written by AI, and we think they're just as good.
What is your question?
Do you have a question? Because you elaborate. No, I'm just.
I am elaborating.
That was good information, though. I appreciate it.
I had to give
That
a little
was good.
background before
That
I
was
said,
good. Yes.
is
No.
there really a way to put the brakes on AI? That's
Is there
the question.
really a way
Can
to
we
put
really
the
put the
brakes
brakes on AI? Or if they wanted, if Hollywood producers and directors want to use AI to get scripts, and despite the protest of the writers, or despite the protest of journalists, if online sources want to generate articles, is there a way to put the brakes on AI?
You want to answer that? Put the brakes on AI. I'm out of control, so I would say no.
You know, I don't think that, you know, you can't put the brakes on AI. It's the cat's out of the bag. It's out there. It's progress. It's moving forward, but it can be regulated, right? And what those regulations look like, I guess it just depends on the circumstance and situation. But I think as legislation is usually reactive, and so things are going to have to happen first before we see any significant legislation to solve a problem. Right now, we're anticipating problems, but I think some problems have to actually happen before you actually see legislation to address those.
Sometimes prevention is better, but we'll just wait to the problems. But I think the task forces are good. One of you mentioned because we need a task force for prevention-wise, so they're ready when those problems do arrive. Yes, Doc?
Jim Whitman, a member of Tiger Bay. All right, got a question for you, sir. Here I am, your student. It's a history class. Mr. AI, please write me an essay on the Habsburg Empire and make it so that my teacher can't tell it's AI. You think that's going to happen? Probably next year. Just say it. What do you think?
Can just answer his question. He'll be answer his question.
Yeah, I mean, so AI today is the worst it's ever going to be, right? And it's just going to get progressively better and better and better. You know, I think it's just, it's going to be a co-creation. I think we're going to get more accustomed to things being co-created. But then humans have to not fall into the trap of asleep at the wheel. So you ask AI to do something and it does a really great job. Then you ask it again and again, and you get accustomed to it not making mistakes, but then it could make a mistake at some point. And so I think, yeah, it's true. We do, right? But I think, I don't think we'll have to worry about like planes falling out of the air type of problem on this, but people are going to ask to do things where it's going to have some mistakes.
Naya?
Hello, my name's Naya Smith. I'm from Goodwill, Minnesota, where we change lives through the power of work. I'm on the learning and development team, and part of my job is to develop a program for people experiencing barriers to employment. Now, I use AI to help develop the program. They're learning English through an immersive technology program where they get English skills along with job skills training. And my concern is for the future. Specifically the demographic that we serve at Goodwill. These jobs are manual. These are not jobs that we can automate, and that's part of our system. That's part of how we serve our mission. Can you maybe offer some suggestions of ways that we could think into the future, how to use AI to serve our demographic? How can we create jobs for people with limited skill sets, with maybe barriers to acquiring degrees or acquiring coding skills? What is the future of people in these vulnerable demographics?
Yep. What we've discovered is that, and is it, your name's Aish?
Naya.
Hey, Naya. We have opportunities. We have free opportunities. I think part of it might be a mindset. I don't want to sound, I might be completely off, but we offer free classes for coding and cybersecurity and software development and robots and all the things. And there's no cost, but sometimes people just don't know that it's for them. They don't have a STEM, they don't feel like they fit into the STEM family. Like they're not quite sure if they try to learn to program robots, if it would be something they could do. They're not sure if it's accessible or affordable or attainable. And what we keep trying to preach and shout and yell, hey, come to State College of Florida. We have all sorts of alternative pathways to education. And so we're happy to partner. And I know CareerSource is also happy to partner. So when it comes to training at no cost that's flexible or hybrid, or we have the computer, we have the space, we have everything. Sometimes it's just a insecurity. It's an insecurity. And those questions that you ask, how do we help our community? How do we train? All those are AI, great questions for AI. And you put those in ChatGPT and it gives you a long laundry list of answers of how you can do it. I've done that. But the part that you said about how do we get the folks trained, the folks have to want to be trained. And just us telling them, hey, you can go into cybersecurity. They don't always believe us, but they really could, because we're just that good at what we do.
Thank you, Naya, for your question. That's my mentee, so whatever she does is good for me. But and I'm a board member for Goodwill. But good question, sweetheart. I want to thank our speakers today. Both of them do a lot in the area that they work. I'm always seeing Joshua out partnering. You just did the youth training, and it was it like 100 young people there? 150. That is amazing, because those are our kids for tomorrow. So we just want to thank Joshua Matlock for everything you do, President and CEO, CareerSource, Suncoast, and Deshawana Bagley, Director of Advanced Technology Center, State College of Florida. Please give them a round of applause. I want to thank you all for coming and attending the lunch today. Thank you to METV for going ahead and recording this for us. Also to all my board members and to Prodigal Daughters, my servers in the back. You all did an amazing job. Our next meetings are June 13th. That is a correction on my flyer here. June 13th, we will have District 72 debates. June 30th, we will have the Manatee County School Board debates. So we will be having multiple debates in the month, but we will also have a couple of them in the evening. So pay attention to Tiger Bay's website, because we want to really make sure that we're bringing all of the debates to you, so you can be the ones that are going to show up. Yes.
I just wanted to share that if anybody would like information for the
themselves or any family or friends about some of our technical training right outside the door on the table there. Please take a look. There's some flyers and information for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And I want to thank you all. Thank you to Bezos and our wait staff. We appreciate you. Charles Clapsaddle, he is not here today, but he will be retiring officially. And he's been in this community for a very, very long time. I know he's still going to be around. Thank you to our sponsors, ABC7, Bradenton Herald, and Sarasota Herald Tribune. You all have a great day, and thank you so very much for coming.